Today is September 28th, 2025. I'm here at the Klamath River where Jenny Creek flows into. You can see that they have the fish counting weir in there. Apparently they've said I think one fish has come in. But that's where it's at here. And this is what this whole area is looking like. And as we were driving in, and I noticed this a couple weeks ago when we were here, you can see over here where this cat is, it looks like that they're putting in a new road that goes up above Jenny Creek. And actually, as you kind of look up on the hillside, up over there, you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see it, but I can kind of see where that road is being punched in through. If you kind of know where to look, you can kind of see it. Sorry if it's a little shaky, it's because I'm zooming in. And you can kind of see that dark line over there. That would also be the new road that they're patching in, so I'm not quite sure. Sorry, let me zoom out for a second. You can kind of see it. So I'm not quite sure why they're punching in a new road on this side of, on the north side of Jenny Creek. But I could really, I noticed that today on our drive up. I can see where they put the new road in here. A couple weeks ago this cat was there, but I don't think the road was punched through that far. But anyways, thought I would just make that little note. And then this is looking at Jenny Creek where it flows into the Klamath River. You can still see some of the rocks that they have over there. And you can see over there on the hillside, on further up the lake bed, where they've moved all that dirt to. So anyways, just thought I'd stop here for a second since you could see the fish weir and kind of see where it enters into the Klamath. I'm walking, so I'm hoping I'm not shaking too much. But it still looks like there's a decent flow going out to the river. I'll zoom in here so you can see it. So that's what it's looking like down here. I'm gonna pause it and head on down to the bridge. So we're here at Jenny Creek on the bridge. You can see that they've took all the screens out. As we drove down here, we noticed all the machinery and equipment is gone with the exception of one small tractor, which I'll show you that in a minute. But with the salmon, like I said, I think that they said that one salmon came past that weir. So that would probably be why they took all the fences out. You can see it's not really flowing over there at all. It's primarily just coming down this main channel right here. I'll go look off the other side and see if I can see anything off of the other side. So we'll have to kind of see now that all the equipment is out of here, with the exception of that little tractor over there. I'm assuming it's just here smoothing out all of the dirt, making everything smooth. That's the only piece of equipment I see up here. So we'll just kind of have to see how everything goes during this winter. But this is kind of what it's looking like right now. You can really see that they've built up that area right there, coming down to where the creek is currently flowing. Looking to see if I can see any fish down in here. I'll kind of move away from that glare so you can see a little bit better. There was a fish down in there, you would be able to see it. But this is currently what it's looking like at this moment. So at least we have something to go by for this winter, just to kind of see what the river, or sorry, I don't know why I keep calling it river, the creek, see what the creek does this winter. Like I said, it's going to just depend on what kind of storms we get. We're supposed to start getting rain tomorrow and into Tuesday. But if we have a wet winter like we did last winter, it's going to be interesting to see how much of this woody debris that they've put in actually flushes out into the Klamath River, or where it places itself again after our storms. Like I said, it's all going to be dependent on what kind of a winter we have. So during this winter, I will still try to come up and document what I can depending on the weather. If it's snowing up here and it isn't really passable, I won't come up. I still plan on coming up at least through November, because I know that the salmon should be coming up this way through at least October, maybe the 1st of December. But I'm not really seeing much here. But at least this gives us a good perspective of what things look like right now as we start heading into our fall and our winter months. So this is another perspective looking at Jenny Creek. Kind of what it's looking like here. And actually, as I was pointing out the road before, when you look up there on the hillside, you can see it. Sorry if I'm going too fast, it's kind of right there in all the trees. You can see that that is fresh dirt. So I'm not sure why they would be cutting a road up there. But I'm gonna go ahead and pause it. So this is kind of what it's looking like from over here. I'll zoom in a little bit. This kind of, you can really see where they've built up the bank here. And it looks like the creek has gotten a little bit wider right here. And then you can see right over here is where they created this pond. And they've put some woody debris in it. It's definitely pretty green right now. I don't know if my camera can pick up that green color, but it is pretty green. So like I said, they must be using that tractor to smooth out the ground, make it a little bit smoother. But that is the only piece of equipment that I see up here, as I'll show you as we go around the bend. But I'm going to take a quick little jaunt up Jenny Creek just to see if there's any fish further upstream. So I walked up here to where the dry hydrant comes in to pull water if they ever need it. Just thought I'd walk up here a little bit and see if I can see anything up here. It's pretty clear. You can see a water skipper or two on top. I might walk down the creek just a little bit, see if I can see anything down below. Last year, this is where I saw one. I think that was like at the end of October. Kind of come peep over here, see if I can see anything. Kind of pretty right here. Not sure if you can hear me over the sound. But this creek is still flowing pretty decently. So I might pause it and head on down the creek a little bit. So this is another area that I'm walking down into, just below where I was before. If there was anything up here, you would definitely be able to see it. As the water is pretty clear. You can see there is some green moss down in the water. See my shadow? Not really seeing much here either. Like I said, I think that as of the last report, they've only captured one, I believe they said, in Jenny Creek. Like I said, the water's pretty clear, so if there was a fish in here, you'd be able to see it. So I'm gonna make my way out of here. And I'm gonna go on further down Jenny Creek. I'm not exactly sure what these pole things are. I've always kind of wondered what they were, but I really don't know. If somebody knows, please let me know. And then just on around that bend is where the bridge is. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it. So I was talking about that new road that they're punching through, and if you look from here, you can kind of see where they're punching it through up there. You can kind of see the line of rocks kind of in that area. I think the road below is an older road. Kind of like losing it, sorry. I'm like zooming in. So it looks like it goes up across. I know that there is an older road that's down below. It's just right above Jenny Creek. So I'm gonna continue on down Jenny Creek. So this is another perspective of the pond and where it flows out to the creek. Starting to get a little windy, so I'm going to go ahead and continue my way around the road. So you can see all the work that they've done here. So this is kind of what it's looking like from here. The only thing I can say about this woody debris is I do love the smell of it. But you can see none of the equipment is parked over there where it normally would be, which would be over in that area. And actually, as I pan back over, I got a good view of that road that they're punching in right there. I'll go slow enough for you so you can see it's where all that dark material is. It goes on around the hillside that way. So this is kind of what Jenny Creek was looking like from over on this side. Like I've said, they've definitely brought in a lot of materials, dirt, rock, and built up that other bank where it used to flow. I'll go down here on my rock. So this gives you a good color idea what color that pond is. It's pretty green already because there is no inflow. I'm gonna stand up here on my rock. You can see the tractor. It's got one of those, I don't know what you want to call it, kind of a rake but not a rake, a roller on it. Oops, sorry, I'm moving around on the rock, so I'm not paying attention to where I'm filming at. So this is what it's looking like around this edge. So they're definitely smoothing all that out. You can see all the rock that they've put in and moved around. You can see the woody debris that they've put in here. And actually from here, if I look, I can almost see the fish weir down there, which would be that you can see right there in the middle. You can see all the woody debris that they put in down there. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see if we get the wet winter like we did last year, how much of this is going to stay and how much of this is going to wash out, especially the smaller pieces. I don't foresee the smaller pieces staying. The bigger pieces just might, just depending on the flow. We shall see. But at least we have a good perspective of what everything is looking like right now before the storms come in this winter. So I'm gonna pause it and just head down the road a little bit. So while we're up here, I see that there's a big group of vehicles that pulled in right as we were pulling out, and a big group of people just got out. Thought I'd just show you kind of what Jenny Creek was looking like from this perspective. You can see the woody debris that's in the creek. And that's as it makes its way up to the bridge. And I'll pan over here. You can hear the squirrels off in the background up the hillside. But this is what it's looking like right here. That's a good little view of it right there. Like I said, you can see all the woody debris that they've kind of buried into the dirt and the rock right there. And I believe that they did the same thing all along this bed. The bank right here, you just can't really see it that well because we're on top of it. But you can see right here where they've buried some woody debris in the bank right here. You can kind of see that they've got a lot of woody debris over there as well. It's just kind of interesting to be up here in person and see everything. What it's all looking like. This actually gives you a really good view of what it's looking like down the creek bed. You can see all the rock and the woody debris that's mixed in right there. You can see it kind of winds its way. Sorry, as I move it gets shaky. You can kind of see how it winds its way down, and then you can actually see the fish weir. The counting station, that's right there. Then of course as it makes its way on out to the Klamath River. So I'm gonna pause and we'll head down the road just a little bit. So I'm just kind of walking down the road. Kind of gives you a better look at what I'm seeing. When I do these trips, I definitely get my steps in for the day. You can see like over here where those bigger boulders are, and up that stretch, that's where it was diverting to last winter. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this winter if we get the flows like we did last winter. But at least we have something to compare it to. And you can kind of see all the woody debris that they put in downstream. Oh, there we go. Zoom back in. So anyways, I'm going to pause it and head on down the road just a little bit. Actually, I decided just to walk down the road a little bit. I think this is a good vantage point to see what it looks like upstream. I'll kind of come over here to where the culvert is. This gives you a good perspective of what it's looking like upstream. I'll kind of zoom in a little bit. You can definitely see all the rocks that they've got placed in up there and all the woody debris up there. Sounds like I've got some rocks coming off the hillside above me. Sorry if I'm not paying attention to where I'm videoing at. But yeah, you can see what this whole area is looking like. So I'm going to pause it and we'll head on down the road. Actually, it sounds like those vans are making their way out. I'm kind of curious to see who they are. I won't put them on video, but they're from Cal Poly Humboldt. There's a pickup, a van, and 2 cars behind it. They all waved and I waved back, so they must be up here just scouting out the area. I don't know if it's a class or if they're just up here to see what things are looking like. But anyways, this is what it's looking like from here. I'm gonna pause it and head on around the road. So I come around the corner a little bit. This is a pretty good perspective of what it's looking like up Jenny Creek. I'm past the culvert, not very far. But this is part of the creek that they diverted last year. Kind of looks a little different. I want to say that it was diverted more to the right of this video, but I'd have to compare from previous videos. But you can definitely see that they're smoothing all this out. You can see the big rock, that's the tractor. But I thought that this was a pretty good shot from here. Some of these trees, you can see that they're down, so I have a better spot to see here. But you can really see all the woody debris that they put in that arm. And that is where it was flowing before. It looks like there is still some water there. So it must still be seeping through up at the top where it starts to berate out. So like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here come this winter. I'm going to continue on down the road. So I'm kind of videoing in the trees. You can kind of see what trees are in the creek. What it looks like right down here below. You can see that they've, like I said, they've put a lot of woody debris within this creek and a lot of bigger rocks. Right here you have a really good shot of all the woody debris that they've buried in the bank right here. And that would be like an arm that used to flow down into the creek. And then you can see that there's another arm right there. That I think was the original arm after the breaches where it flowed through. You can kind of see up that way a little bit through the trees. I'm gonna walk down just a little bit to see if I have a better view right past this tree, which normally I do. So from here you have a good vantage point of what it's looking like. And like I said, after the breaches in February of 24, that is the direction in which Jenny Creek came. It looks like there is still some water within that arm right there, but it did hug that bank more, and it came down that direction. And like I've said, they've actually moved it that direction when they did the restoration work last year. So you can kind of see where it all comes now, and if you get into some of my first videos that I posted from that time frame, you can see the difference. That's what I'm up here doing, is just documenting all the changes that I see. And I have videos and pictures to compare from. So I have a good idea what things are looking like before we go into winter. So that we can all kind of see the changes together. There's no question, I'm videoing it and this is what it is. You can't change the video. So this is what it's currently looking like right now. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here because there's not much for vantage points. I think I've gotten some good shots from other areas. And actually, as I'm here, we were talking about that road that they were punching in. You can actually see it really good from here. It's that darker strip. There is another road that's down below, but I'm assuming you can see that darker strip in the trees. That is the road it looks like that they're making. Because if you look, you can kind of see the old road right there. But they're actually putting in a new road right there, going up Jenny Creek. I'm not sure why. But from here you can actually see it pretty good as it goes all across that ridge. And I can see it over on the other side right there. And I think you can see it too. Like I said, it's just that dark thin line that you can see, but that is a new road. You can tell it's fresh dirt, and it kind of continues on up that way. I don't know if I can get it anymore from here, but it goes somewhere on up the canyon. So anyways, that's kind of what it's looking like from here. That's it for Jenny Creek today. I'll continue to come up here every 2 or 3 weeks, maybe once a month, just depending on what the weather's doing. Like I said, I know we're supposed to be getting some rain this week, but I also plan on coming up to see what fish make it up this way. Like they said that there should be one. So I will continue to come up and document whatever fish I happen to see on my trips. Off to my next stop.